Stand on the edge of Dubai Marina on a scorching, clear afternoon and look up. The Arabian Gulf glints like silver at your back, and the yachts glide across the artificial basin. Rising above the dense thicket of supertalls is a tower that does not look like it belongs. Not because of its height. In this city of giants, its 57 stories barely scratch the clouds. Not because of its glass facade, though the twisting pane catches the brutal desert sun in blinding flashes. It does not look like it belongs because if you know what you are looking at, it isn't straight. Marina Apex is a luxury residential skyscraper in Dubai. Completed recently, it holds over 500 high-end rental units. Expats are sleeping in it right now, as you watch this, and it is leaning. Not by a fraction of a degree. It is tilting by more than 3 degrees from vertical. For context, the Tower of Pisa, the world's ultimate symbol of structural failure, leans at 3.97 degrees. Marina Apex, built with billions of dollars in the world's flashiest luxury hub, matches it. A 700-foot tower leaning 3 degrees means the roof is offset horizontally by a staggering 37 feet. If you stand below, it looms directly over you like a glass tidal wave. Welcome back to the channel. Subscribe now. Every video here explores premium engineering projects that failed, and the systems that let it happen. Marina Apex failed because of a lethal choice to cut corners where nobody could see. The foundation. In Dubai, developers aren't just building on land, they are building on hyper-dense sand and reclaimed coastal plots. To hold a massive concrete needle, you must anchor deep into solid bedrock. If you don't, the shifting sand and high saltwater table will claim it. The developer Apex Horizon Group rushed the process to beat market crashes. They ignored the ground, and now the tower is sinking differentially. The lights are on, the rents are being paid, but the clock is ticking on a multi-million-dollar disaster. To understand how a 57-story luxury tower begins to tilt like an ancient Italian monument, you have to look beneath the pristine marble lobby, deep into the treacherous geology of the Dubai coast. The site of Marina Apex sits right on the water's edge, where the hypersaline Arabian Gulf meets centuries of loose, shifting desert sand and unstable marine sediments. In Dubai, the top 30 to 80 feet of ground is essentially a fluid matrix of sand and highly corrosive groundwater. Beneath that lies weak calcarenite and siltstone bedrock. Every structural engineer in the UAE knows that building a supertall here requires transferring the immense weight directly to solid rock via drilled concrete friction piles, or caissons. The engineering is standard, but the execution at Marina Apex was a catastrophe of negligence. The developer, Apex Horizon Group, pushed a hyper-aggressive construction timeline. The pressure was intense. Rising material costs and a fiercely competitive luxury rental market meant that every week saved on the foundation translated to millions of dollars saved, according to leaked corporate documents and subsequent subcontractor disputes. The pile installation was systematically botched. To save time, the specialized drilling rigs didn't always drill deep enough to achieve secure embedment into the bedrock. In several critical spots, the concrete piles were poured directly into loose sediment, or stopped short of the rock entirely. Even worse, the high water table allowed aggressive salt water to seep into the curing concrete, weakening the shafts before the tower even began to rise. The lean didn't wait for completion. As the floors climbed toward the 57-story mark, the enormous weight of the structure grew. The compromised pile group on the seaward side began to compress under the immense load, causing differential settlement. The building started tilting during construction. Engineers flagged the deviation early on, but instead of halting work to execute an expensive underpinning operation, the developer ordered the construction to proceed, adjusting the upper floor slabs slightly to mask the tilt to the naked eye. By the time the glass facade was sealed, the structural lean had locked in at over 3 degrees, setting up an existential engineering crisis hidden behind a glossy, high-rent exterior. A 3-degree lean creates a brutal physical reality for a 700-foot tower. It changes how the entire building handles stress. Skyscrapers are vertical cantilever beams designed to transfer massive downward gravity loads evenly and flex safely against high winds. But when Marina Apex tilted, it permanently shifted its center of gravity. The gravity load is no longer running straight down the central core. It is pushing diagonally. The perimeter columns on the leaning side are bearing immense, unexpected compression forces, while the columns on the high side are being pulled upward in a state of permanent tension. This structural imbalance triggers a dangerous phenomenon unique to leaning glass towers in extreme climates: localized structural fatigue. Dubai's climate is relentless. During summer, the exterior temperature regularly hits 50 degrees Celsius. The glass and aluminum facade expands significantly during the day under the baking sun and contracts sharply at night. In a perfectly vertical building, this thermal movement is uniform and easily managed by engineering joints. But at Marina Apex, the structural lean deforms the window framing tracking, creating uneven pressures. The glass panels on the compressed side are locked under crushing stress, leaving them highly vulnerable to sudden, explosive shattering as heat expansion pushes them past their limits. Worse still is the silent threat of the saltwater table. Because the building settled unevenly, the subterranean foundation cap on the leaning side has sunk deeper into the aggressive saline groundwater of the Marina Basin. High-pressure groundwater is constantly pushing against the basement retaining walls. This hypersaline water corrodes the steel reinforcement bars inside the concrete piles, causing the steel to rust, expand, and crack the surrounding concrete from within, a process known as concrete spalling. Comparing this to San Francisco's Millennium Tower or the Tower of Pisa reveals a terrifying difference. Pisa sits on soft clay that compressed slowly over 800 years. The Millennium Tower settled into deep mud, triggering multi-million-dollar underpinning projects funded by institutional oversight. But at Marina Apex, there is no public stabilization plan. The extreme desert heat and aggressive marine environment accelerate the structural decay of the compromised foundations every single day, while the building is treated as a fully functioning luxury asset. Inside the apartments of Marina Apex, the structural crisis is an intimate, everyday battle for the residents paying top dollar for a premium lifestyle. European tech executives, British finance expats, and South Asian logistics directors moved here for the infinity pools, the sweeping views of the marina, and the promise of ultimate comfort. Instead, they live with the unsettling, physical anomalies of a building out of alignment. Walk into a 45th floor master suite on the leaning side, and the defects are impossible to ignore. Drop a simple marble on the polished porcelain floor, and it immediately rolls across the room, accelerating until it slams into the baseboard. Residents report a bizarre, persistent sensation of vertigo when walking down the long internal corridors, a subtle, psychological disorientation caused by their inner ears fighting the visual cues of a tilted environment. But the most pressing daily nightmare isn't the tilt itself, it's the mechanical fallout of a twisting structure. Because the building leans, the vertical shafts for the high-speed elevators are slightly deformed. The elevator cabs rattle and scrape against their guide rails as they shoot upward, occasionally triggering automatic safety sensors that trap residents between floors for hours. More critically, the plumbing systems are failing. Skyscraper drainage relies entirely on gravity and precise slope calculations, with the building out of true, waste and gray water stall in the pipes on the high side of the tower. Internal plumbing lines are backing up, causing foul sewage odors and mysterious, pressurized leaks that seep through the luxury drywall, ruining expensive custom furniture and molding the interior spaces. The legal and social reality for these tenants is uniquely vulnerable. In Dubai's hyper-transient rental market, almost everyone signs a standard one-year lease, paying with upfront post-dated checks. If a tenant notices their kitchen cabinets are out of plumb or that their bedroom windows are jamming shut due to the warping frame, they have no real recourse. Unlike condominium owners in Western markets who can form a collective homeowners association, sue the developer for rescission, or force an independent engineering audit, these renters have no seat at the table. When they complain to the property management firm, they are met with absolute corporate silence or dismissed with claims that the settling is completely standard for new builds. Most prospective tenants viewing the empty units have no idea the building is compromised. They look at the dazzling crystal chandeliers in the lobby and the floor-to-ceiling glass, completely unaware that the tower is tilting toward the basin. Those who realize the truth face a brutal choice: forfeit tens of thousands of dollars in prepaid rent to break their lease early, or sleep every night inside a multi-million-dollar structural gamble. Go down to the Marina promenade as the desert sun dips below the horizon and the sky turns deep purple. Look up at Marina Apex. The tower looks complete. The glass reflects the neon lights of the surrounding restaurants. The yachts cruise past its base, and the lights are turning on in hundreds of living rooms across 57 floors. It reads as a monument to modern prosperity. But if you know what to look for, the silhouette against the evening sky tells a completely different story. The ultimate danger for Marina Apex isn't just the 3-degree lean it carries right now. It is the catastrophic potential of future movement. A building that has settled and stopped moving is an expensive structural defect. A building where the foundation is still failing is an active hazard. With no public remediation plan underway, no massive compaction grouting operations, and no underpinning infrastructure being installed to anchor the tower to bedrock, the path of least resistance has been chosen: silence and observation. But while the legal battles between Apex Horizon Group and its contractors play out behind closed doors, the physical environment does not pause. The aggressive saltwater continues to eat away at the subterranean concrete. The extreme summer heat cycles continue to stress the warped glass facade, and the shifting coastal sands remain completely indifferent to corporate balance sheets. The global engineering community learned from disasters like Surfside that structural oversight systems fail most predictably when the entities responsible for funding the fix are the very ones facing financial ruin. At Marina Apex, the developer has already moved on to new projects. The contractor has gone silent, and the transient expat renters keep signing leases, oblivious to the fact that they are living inside a giant engineering anomaly. The Tower of Pisa is a historical wonder because it leans. Marina Apex is a silent warning. Tonight, the residents are asleep, the tower is tilting, and the desert sand is waiting.